none of which you are going to see today.
There it is, clip right there from Beeba Boys. Deepa Mehta, the visionary behind this one, a dramatic film about Indo-Canadian gangsters. Very interesting commentary, and I can only imagine the discussion stemming from this, given the sensitivities in the news, what's happening with gang violence, but the themes to play with. What was the theme for you behind Beeba Boys that made you say, I need to make this movie?
The theme of Beeba Boys is very similar to all the themes that are reflected in my film. I care about assimilation, I care about identity, I care deeply about immigration and how we are not ourselves. We do not become ourselves in isolation. So whether I choose to be here from India and I'm a first generation Indo-Canadian or whatever the hyphen is that's politically correct right now, or whether I've been here for 3 generations, it takes time. My community informs me, my racial memory informs me, my environment informs me, and the dominant culture informs me. And that, that give and take and what we become has a lot to do with what we're surrounded by.
The culture and what you're surrounded by, I see as definite keys. I watched this movie, and any good narrative has a good question, and the question I'm asking is, where do I fit in? And it's so rare that you see so many Indo-Canadians being featured on the big screen in a movie like this. What has been the response in the Indo-Canadian community looking at this, especially given the fact it's focusing on gang territory?
Well, the film opens on October 16th. I mean, right now it's been through film festivals, and they have, there's been a mixed response. I'd say the younger people have just embraced it because they love the idea of them being seen on film as something that is not the taxi driver, not the terrorist, not secondary roles, or even if they get lucky, they get to wear a stethoscope around their neck and be a doctor in some really weird soap. I mean, this is their film. And it's a film about gangsters, but nobody questions films about mafia. So suddenly I'm saying, why are we questioning films about Indo-Canadians? I guess because we don't see them so often, but we should celebrate that instead of saying, what are you doing? I guess we're so scared we want everybody's approval.
And I think that's a great point, because I was saying to you in the green room when I first watched this movie, and the guys, let's roll in some of the images, I felt uneasy watching it thinking, this is a great opportunity for Indo-Canadians to shine, and then you see violence at the forefront, and there are some that say, hey, this perpetuates gang violence, it's like a glorified rap video, but then there's some that say there's a conversation to be had about the movie. How do you respond to critics that kind of dismiss it and say it's just too violent, it's painting us in the wrong light, and it's going against community outreach for Indo-Canadians?
Oh, I think that's, we need to talk about it. I mean, I think in any community, whether it's, the gangs and mafia gangs, the Russian gangs and the triad gangs and Yakuzas or whatever. And the reason I didn't make a film about the Chinese gangs is because this is my community. I know it the best. And also coming from my community, I do know that we have a tendency, because we really want to be accepted and not create any waves with the dominant community and be perceived as people who will not do anything that will rock the boat. We just are not dealing with things that we should deal with, which is the gang. The numbers are horrendous. Unless we talk about it, who's going to talk about it? The cops that I've spoken to said that it's really, they can go so far. They need to engage the community. The reason that they want to do it, I don't want to defend the film. It's a movie, either you like it or you don't. And but then I feel, on the other hand, Riaz, that nobody, asked Tarantino that, why are you doing this with Italian? And you don't go into an Italian restaurant and say, my God, it's filled with a mafiosa. Why are we so paranoid of wanting white approval? I mean, the colonial times are long gone. Have some confidence in your community.
And I think that is an excellent point. And for you to define the film as a success and the dialogue that comes out of it, is that it right there, pointing out the inferiority complex that can exist for people to say, hey, how come we're being portrayed in this way? Is that it, to get that dialogue going and then
it's one of the reasons. It's a movie, finally. I mean, I think that a movie doesn't change the world. No movie does. But a movie can start a dialogue. This is based on, inspired by true events, true characters, an amalgamation of them. And then there's a dramatic license being taken. Why can't we look at ourselves and say, this is cool, this is fine. But finally, in the film, crime doesn't pay. So what's the big deal? I mean, the whole. I just find it's quite amusing actually when I'm being accused of what's the word did you use? Grandizing,
glorifying.
There's nothing that's glorifying about a body bag. So let's get real.
Well, it's going to get a discussion, and we also have Paul Gross in a man bun in the movie too, which we talked to him about yesterday.
Wonderful. He's wonderful in it.
He is featured in the movie, but hey, you can check it out for yourself. This thing is out October 16th, right? Mainstream release?
Yeah, mainstream release. Yeah.
All right, check it out. Get the discussion going. Deepa, thanks for coming on and taking the questions.
Thank you.